Oh, fuck. Why does it say that? Whoops. Oh, Jesus. It doesn't have the name of the meeting. Uh,
Doesn't?
it has my personal meeting room. And it's going to have all that, too. Well, you might miss that by now.
Miss what?
When I said, fuck, what is that? Why is that name there? Does the sign come through okay?
I did. Yeah, there, yeah. I was giving people reminder emails.
Oh, wow. That's not the whole screen, dear.
Yeah, but how do I get the whole screen? Oh. Go to YouTube. Okay. Okay.
Okay, great, perfect.
David, is there a way I can
16 now.
So I guess I should refresh this, cause I only see 2. 16, alright. Don't like it. I'll be the first to like it.
I'm going to start about 1 minute late. Or 30 seconds late or something. How do you like my high-tech sign? Well, I'm delighted to see so many of you here. Although all I actually see is number, I know that each one of those numbers indicates somebody watching and paying attention, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, the struggle for dignity, and particularly in a time like this, the idea that dignity is a human construct is really reinforced, because nature does not recognize human dignity whatsoever. That has been brought home so forcefully during this pandemic, when many people have been put in the most undignified position imaginable, that of dying without their loved ones being by their side. But we can salvage a little bit of dignity by laughing. And so, would you laugh with me and this newly composed song by Dermot Ryan. In the town of Wuhan, some germs from an animal made a great leap and infected a few. Nobody thought it would be a pandemic, but now the whole world's in a hullabaloo. It didn't take long for the germs to go global in planes and trains and cruises by sea. Now locked in our homes and trying to stay sober, we can't even watch the live sports on TV. 6 long months in isolation, 6 long months doing nothing at all. 6 long months in isolation, this lockdown is driving me right up the wall. I tried to go out, got sent back in again. I went out again, straight back in again. Sick to death of this social distancing, finish the lockdown for once and for all. Now the experts say to keep 2 meters distance and never to gather in couples and groups. And eating at home is a feckin' disaster. I'm fat as a fool eating pasta and soups. Now in the UK, the virus was active. It got the Prime Minister in number 10. I hope Boris Johnson recovers completely so that we can call him a dickhead again. 6 long months in isolation, 6 long months without toilet roll. I wish to God that I had constipation because I got nothing for wiping me hole. I tried to go out, got sent back in again. I went out again, straight back in again. Sick to death of this social distancing, finish the lockdown for once and for all. Now Trump took it lightly, there's no need to panic, we're under control, sure 'tis only a flu. He finally did what he promised his voters, America first in this virus too. And we need another verse here. 3 long years with Trump as president, 3 long years doing nothing at all. Talking shite and blaming China while Mexico begs him to finish the wall. I tried to go out, got sent back in again. I went out again, straight back in again. Sick to death of this social distancing, finish the lockdown for once and for all. Now the end is in sight, the curve it is flatter, but lifting the lockdown is yet to be seen. Washing your hands and wearing a mask is the only solution to COVID-19. 6 long months in isolation, the planet has never looked greener before. But back to the grind to pay off the mortgage. The world, it just won't be the same anymore. There you are. Thank you. Thank you. I will not spend any time much talking about a culture in which there are a number of people, in fact many people, who feel that they can only achieve dignity by stealing from other people. And that's whether with a 6-gun or with a fountain pen, as many are wont to do in these times. But if you have been robbed, you know that feeling of indignity, that violation of self. This song, the victim of robbery, cleverly turns the tables on the robber and reclaims his dignity. I got this from the singing of Packy Menace Byrne. There once was a young man, his name it was John, hired with a farmer in the county Tyrone. On the fair day of Claddie the farmer took unwell, so he sent John to the market with a cow for to sell. Rattly-rang-do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do-a-dan. And you're welcome to join in on that chorus. John drove the cow away out of the barn, and off to the fair he instantly ran. He hadn't gone so far till he met 2 dealing men, who soon bought the cow, and they paid him there and then. Rattly-rang-do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do-a-dan. Then into an alehouse John went for a glass, his feet for to rest and an hour for to pass. Where will I hide the money? To the landlady he did say, or where will I hide it? Oh, tell me, I pray. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. In the lining of your coat I will sew it, says she, for fear on the road that it's robbed you might be. The robber in the room sat there sipping at his wine, and he says to himself, all that money will be mine. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. When John started out for his home that afternoon, the robber he followed him out of the room. He soon overtook him, and this to him did say, won't you hop up behind me, for I'm going your way. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. They hadn't gone so far till the robber turned about. A bright gleaming pistol he then quickly drew out. Deliver up your money without either grief or strife, or at this very moment I will take your sacred life. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. Then John was afraid if he tried to refuse, and feared for his life. There was no time to lose. From the lining of his coat he tore the money out, and among the green grasses, well, he scattered it all about. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. Well, that highwayman, he quickly jumped down from his horse, not thinking that it might be all to his loss. As he gathered up the money that he found among the grass, John hopped into the saddle and rode off with his horse. Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. The farmer's wee daughter saw John a-comin' home, and quick into her father she quickly went. "Arra, John," said the farmer, "tell me why did you swap? Or how did me cow turn into a horse?" Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. "Oh, indeed, then," says John, "it's the truth I will unfold. I was stopped on the road by a wee highman bold. As he gathered up your money that I threw among the grass, just to make you amendment, sure I brought home his horse." Rattly-rang, do-a-daddy-do, a-da-do, a-dan. When the saddlebag was opened, it was found for to hold 500 bright guineas in silver and gold, a bright pair of pistols, and the farmer he did vow, saying, "John, me young fellow, whoo, you're the boy can sell a cow." Woo! Good man, John, the clever farmer. Thank you. As I mentioned before, I see these numbers here, and I'm delighted that so many of you are watching and participating. I can only see a number, though, so if you want to let me know that you're here, scroll down, and on the right-hand side is a chat that you can contribute to, and let me know that you're here. I'd love to see your name, even though I can't see your face. Sorry. Now, there are whole groups of people who have had their dignity stolen from them, um, either culturally or legally. Um, and those groups have historically struggled time and again to regain their dignity. This song that I got from Patty Graber of Vancouver, BC, tells a story about someone who was part of not a minority, but an actual majority of the world whose dignity is frequently violated. It's a woman, and she is treated as an object in the beginning of this song. And again, she turns the tables very craftily and regains her dignity, plus some other valuable things as well. Come, listen a while, and I'll tell yous a story of three jolly gentlemen riding along. They met with a fair maid, and to her they did say, "We fear this cold morning would do you some harm." "Oh, no, kind sir, you're surely mistaken, to think this cold morning would do me some harm. But there's one thing I crave, sir, it lies twixt your legs, sir. If you give me that, well, it will keep me warm. Oh, since you do crave it, my dear, you shall have it, if you will come with me 'neath yonder green tree. Oh, since you do crave it, my dear, you shall have it, and I'll make these two gentlemen a witness to thee." So the gentleman lighted, but straightway she mounted, and looking the gentleman hard in the face, "You wrong took my meaning, you misunderstood me," and away she went galloping down the long lane. "Oh, gentlemen, lend me one of your horses, that I may ride after her down the long lane. And when I overtake her, I warrant I'll make her return unto me my own horse again." But when this fair maid she saw him a-comin', she instantly then took his pistol in hand, cried, "Don't doubt my skill, sir, that you I could kill, sir. I'll have you stand back, or you are a dead man. Now why do you spend your time here in talking? Now why do you spend your time here in vain? Pray give her a guinea, it's what she deserves, and I'll warrant she'll give you your own horse again." "Oh, no, kind sir, you're vastly mistaken. If it is his loss, then it is my gain. And you were a witness that he gave it to me." And away she went galloping over the plain. There you are. The crafty maid's policy. Now, sometimes the conferral of dignity is so simple that just one's caring presence is all that is needed. Here's a song that I got from Rita Gallagher, County Donegal, that describes such a situation. The situation is hopeless, but yet the man can regain a shred of dignity. All alone to the banks of the dark rolling Danube, fair Adelaide did roam when the battle was o'er. Oh, where then, she cried, have you wandered, my true love? Or where do you wither or bleed on the shore? She travelled a while, the tears her eyes dimming. Through the dead and the dying she roamed far and near, till she found by the river, all bleeding and dying, by the light of the moon, her poor wounded hussar. From his bosom, which heaved, the last torrent was streaming, and pale was his visage, deep marked with a scar, and dimmed was the eye once expressively beaming, that had melted in love or kindled in war. How sad was poor Adelaide's heart at the sight, and how bitterly she wept o'er the victim of war. Have you come then, he cried, this last sorrowful night, for to cheer the loved heart of your poor wounded hussar? Thou shalt live yet, she cried, heaven's mercies relieving. Each anguishing wound shall forbid me to mourn. Oh, no, he replied, for my life is fast fading, and no light of the morn shall to Henry return. Thou charmer of beauty, ever loving and kind, take my love to my babes who do mourn me from afar. Then his faltering voice could scarce bid her adieu, when he died in her arms, her poor wounded hussar. There. Thank you. The Wounded Hussar. Probably from the Crimean War. That last song showed a very simple way to offer dignity. But there are other ways that are much, much more complex. For there are laws and customs that generally deny dignity to groups of people. And Ireland certainly has seen more than its share of those types of laws. However, they can be amended, and while a law cannot confer dignity itself, that needs to be taken by each person, it can allow for people to do that. And this song is about such a situation. It was probably composed in the mid-1890s. And as it says as it refers to in the next to last verse, to the Land Acts of the 1880s and early 1890s that allowed Irish tenant farmers who had been in the most undignified position imaginable, living in hovels with no power, no right to vote, no economic prospects at all, barely able to eke out a living. It offered them the opportunity to buy their plot of land on favorable terms from their absentee landlords in England. And many of them did. And this song also shows a clever response to an attempt to rob somebody of their dignity because of their nationality. Excuse me. I got this from Tom Munnelly. I remember we were sitting in Marinen's pub one summer back in the 1980s. Pat Malloy was an Irish boy, and he lived in County Clare. He said he'd go to London to see what sights were there. He'd often heard that London was a very pretty place, and be damned, says Pat, I'll go and see if that be the case. Oh, it may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Now when Paddy went to London, he was taken by surprise. The sights of that grand city fairly dazzled Paddy's eyes. One day as he was going down the street, meditating to himself, he met with a ragged cockney and a donkey selling delft. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Now this damned old ragged cockney would not let poor Paddy past. He said, speak to your brother, and he pointed to the ass. I thought, me man, says Paddy, that I had no brother here, but turning round he whispered something in the donkey's ear. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Now, when Pat was speaking to the ass, now, boys, what did he do? He dropped a pebble in his ear. He did, be damned, 'tis true. That ass ran mad, upset the cart, broke all the earthenware, and this damned old cockney, he ran crazy clean and clear. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Well, he called upon the peelers for to take poor Pat in charge, saying, seize this Irish beggar man, he should not be at large. Begone, you English spalpeen, now, says Paddy with a smile. You took me for an ass because I came from Erin's Isle. Oh, it may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Well, to stand before the magistrate he had to appear next day, and asked what all the crimes he'd done, and what he had to say. Well, to tell the truth, says Paddy, I'm accused of more than I did. He said, speak to your brother, and I did as I was bid. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. That's nonsense, cried the magistrate. You know that ass ran mad. Well, I do indeed, says Paddy, and I'm sorry to be dad. Be careful, cried the magistrate, I want no nonsense here. But come and tell me every word you whispered in his ear. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Oh, that I will, says Paddy, your request I'll not refuse. You've often heard that donkeys are very fond of news. I thought I'd say a word or two, the ass's heart to cheer. And now I'll tell you every word I whispered in his ear. It may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. They say that now in Ireland we have our wrongs redressed. All noble-hearted Irishmen no longer are oppressed. We've got rid of all the landlords, Ireland to ourselves we have. And when this donkey heard the news, by heavens, he went mad. Wit may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall the day. Well, the magistrate, from laughing, he had to grip his head when he looked at poor old Paddy, and he thought of what he'd said. And turning round to Paddy, saying, a clever boy you are, and for your clever answer I dismiss you from the bar. Oh, it may fall that it'll die, oh, rye fall today. There you are. Thank you. Thank you. I have 2 songs left, but before I get to that, just a reminder to drop your name in the chat down below on the right-hand side. If you scroll down, say something so that I know you're here. And if I'm quite pleased to sing these songs and do this concert just for my own pleasure and yours too. If, however, you are interested in dropping a tip in the tip jar, you could go to PayPal and enter my email address, ingerson9@gmail.com, and drop a quid or two or a buck or two into the tip jar. That's ingerson9@gmail.com. But what's more important to me is that if you don't have a copy of my CD, please get one. You can download it from Bandcamp, my page in Bandcamp. Or better yet, if you would like a hard copy, email me at ingerson9@gmail.com, and I will be glad to send you a hard copy with the 24-page, beautifully illustrated, if I do say so myself, booklet about the words and stories about each of the songs. One other brief announcement. I'm hoping to continue this concert as a series. The next one will be November 16th, Monday the 16th, and the subject will be on drinking songs. And if you know me, you know that it won't just be all rah, let's get drunk songs. Because in Ireland there are lots of clever and thoughtful and historic songs about drink. And even those of you who know a lot about Irish songs, I will bet that I have one or two that you've never heard before. So tune in again next month, November 16th. My next two songs are newly composed, and although they deal with subjects that in one case 170 years old and in the other case 220 years old, they reflect those struggles for dignity back in those times to today, and become relevant to our thinking and our actions today. This first song was written by John Tunney. It's about an event that took place during the Great Hunger. It tells the story pretty clearly. One thing to know is that Dúlach is a lake that is beside the road that these people traveled on. You have heard them speak about Mozambique and of Africa's famine tide, of how drought and greed, of which few take heed, had consumed a continent's pride. And while millions cry, 10,000s die, and our government takes no stand. But the story I'll tell's of a similar hell that happened in our own land. Early spring in black 49, the country was on the rack. Day and night relentless blight had consumed the tatty crop, and while cattle and grain were exported to Spain, and food lay piled in stores in Mayo South and round about, the people they perished in scores. Crowds were gathered in Louisburg, hoping for some relief. 'Twas said that the poor law guardians could end their piteous grief. These gentlemen kind were meeting to dine in Delphi, 10 miles away. Women, children, and men, 600 strong, set out on that fateful day. Crossing the Glen Keane in full flood, some fell by the riverside, and going along the mountain track, still more collapsed and died. Exhausted and weak, scarce able to speak, they thronged into Delphi town, and waited in mass for some food or a pass to enter the workhouse grounds. After his meal of fine wine and veal, the guardian addressed them all. There is no food here, and I greatly fear no room within the workhouse walls. So you'll all have to go, hail, rain, or snow, and to your homes go back. Dismayed and afraid, despair in their hearts, they set out upon the track. Like harvest sheaves or autumn leaves, they fell dying along the road, And when dark came on, the snow came down. Ah, the night was bitter cold. Going along the cliff, the wind it was stiff, driving on the blinding sleet. Hundreds were swept into Duloch's depths, the horror beyond belief. Next day the relieving officer had a terrible sight in store. With bodies strewn along the route and littering Duloch shores, whole families dead for want of being fed, and injustice a cry and shame, a forgotten sign to our own times, when we witness the very same. For from the Sudan to Afghanistan, famine victims they cry in need. And a nation like ours that knows this curse must surely take the lead. So remember that walk and remember Duloch. Let our banners be unfurled against selfish gain and indifference to pain, and for justice throughout our world. Yes, justice throughout our world. And I can't think of anything more demeaning and undignified than starving while somebody near you had plenty of food, which was the case in Ireland during the Great Hunger. If you had money, there was plenty of food to be had. Unfortunately, a significant minority, to the tune of millions of people, did not live in the money economy and starved. Though my last song deals with the uprising in 1798, when the United Irishmen rose up against the English colonialists. And the United Irishmen were united Protestants and Catholics together, who understood that they had a common enemy, the English overlords. Would that we could see that today, that our common enemy is not a government or another country or another group of people like us, but rather our financial overlords today, are the top 1/10 of 1%. But we will get there because we have the spirit of Thomas Lappin. I got this song from Neve Parsons, and it's written by Breege Murphy, who I got in contact with. She grew up and lives in South Armagh, only an ass's bray from where these events took place 220 years ago. And she gave me kind permission to change the last chorus a little bit to make it more relevant to today's issues of Black Lives Matter and Me Too and the continuing struggle against colonialism of all sorts and the struggle for dignity among all of us. Goes like this. 'Twas the year before the rising in 1798, when Lapin the blacksmith befell his sad fate, tortured and slain by the crown's cruel hand, for the forging of pikes in defense of his land. And the neighbors they met by the old market stone, where they pieced out their linen, their plans to disguise. But the crown's Captain Farnan, he maintained her vile ways, with the promise of silver to sweeten his spies. And it's cold blow the winds o'er Glen Jesha, bitter the legacy born, and sad are the days lie before us. Our brave Thomas Lapin is gone. The yeomen, they came in the dead of the night. Farnan took pride in his task. They dragged out poor Lapin, and the neighbors all knelt and prayed for his soul as they passed. They tortured and flogged him, his comrades to name, and for 3 days their blows he defied. His screams from the barracks at Belmont rang out. At the end of the 4th day he died. And it's cold blow the winds o'er Glen Jesha, bitter the legacy born, and sad are the days lie before us. Our brave Thomas Lapin is gone. And the people despaired that their cause it was lost, as they laid him by Ernie's sweet stream. But the blacksmith of Carive, his spirit lived on, forged hard in the people who stood by his dream, that all women and men have a right to be free, in spite of nation, of color, or of creed. Each woman and man as all equal should be. As you cut down the flower, you will scatter the seed. And the winds are ever blowing o'er Glen Jesha. But hope is now the legacy that's born, and contentious are the days that lie before us. But the spirit of Thomas Lapin lives on. The seeds of Lapin's flower are scattered and sown. There you are. Thank you. And may those seeds take root and blossom and bear fruit all around the world. So, thank you for watching and listening, and for your part in the struggle for dignity as well. And let me leave you with a question. What can you do? What more can you do to help the seeds of Thomas Lappin's flower blossom and bear fruit? And thank you very much. I'll stick around a little bit and look at the chat and see if I can respond to anything. All right. Nice. Oh, Allison. Nice to see you, Allison. And Pa. All right. Gavin is there. Thank you. Lainey. Paul. Terry. And Barbara. Tracy. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for being there, Claudia. Thanks for being there, Glenn. And Merle. All right. All right. Alan. Brian. All right. Thank you, Lisa. And Tom. Nice. Thank you. Anyway, I really appreciate all of your attention, and I hope it was entertaining and enjoyable. And I guess I will sign off now and see you folks another time. Thank you again. Go to me la magwif.